Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Crypto Boss Trading 101. This is Nathan here. Wanted to do a quick weekly sweep across a number of coins as well as some Bitcoin analysis. Lots happening with Bitcoin right now. We've been in a bear market for the better part of really 3 weeks to a month now. And what I have up here is a monthly chart of Bitcoin, okay, going back to 2012. So if we look at this, what you notice is here this red candle here is the last month. Okay, so we've had a dip the last month. Okay, if you look at, I was looking at this today, and not much of the crypto population now was in it in 2014. But if you look here, we had a nice spike in 2014, and pretty much did not rise above that $1,100 level until all the way in Q1 2017, where really you had this deep dip and then a rebound here. But just keep in mind as you look at this long term, it can feel like a bad bear market when you're in the middle of it. But these big red candles, these scary candles have happened before, and this one even lasted months, right? Um, a month downturn, bear market really from beginning 2014 all the way through 2015. Just a rough time for BTC. But here you have a current candle. It's traded higher and lower, but right now we're about right pinned at $11,000. But this just really puts in perspective, where we've come. Great store of value long term. Obviously, the trend is up, but certainly volatile times. And as we look at, if we go here, look at the daily chart. This is Bitcoin daily against the dollar. You can see this trajectory here that we had over the course really from 2016 to May 2017, where you have this trajectory and then a completely different trajectory in Q1 2017 um, really coming into play. And then it just around the 10K range, just going completely parabolic. So it's you know really not a shock that we're getting a retrace of price. We went parabolic here. We're heading back down towards this trend line. And, if we had just continued along this trend line, didn't go parabolic here, we're probably somewhere, today and, end of January around the 9-10K mark, which is really where we should be. Okay. So here we had this FOMO mania, and now we're retracing back down toward the trend line. So what's going on right now with Bitcoin and where is it going? So if we look in here closer, let's look at the 4 hourly chart and see what's going on here. So at the peak of this parabolic behavior, you can see we had this double or triple topping here, which is in this type of structure referred to as a head and shoulders pattern. You have your head here, shoulders here. The downside target of a pattern like that is from the neckline here to the head, which gives you downside target. And remember, this is log scale, so this looks a little bit longer than that distance, but I assure you it's not. But that downside target, if this head and shoulders pattern ran complete target, would give you a target at 61.35, okay? Which could set off, a crypto winter if we get there, and we may get there. The target's still live, still active. I don't think we're going to go all the way to 6,000, but if you look here, I have just repeated downside targets, which are these horizontal red lines here, that continue to get hit. We have two that are open here that haven't been hit yet, but we're right around here, right around the $11,000 mark. We just dipped under, and you can see we have this falling wedge here. Generally, we can get a pop out of a falling wedge, but generally, if you look at the behavior here, it's obeying this blue falling wedge. Okay, you get a rise, it tests the upper limit of the the falling wedge, and then you get a drop down. Okay, so here test, drop, test, drop. Okay, here now we're approaching and testing again. I've got another downside near-term target here of 9,000. I have buy orders in this range, in the $8,000 range. Okay. We'll see as we drop what the price action looks like, if we've actually got buying volume. On any of these dips, I haven't seen serious sustained buying volume. Okay, you have a dip here, you have a quick rebound and a rally here up to the top side of the wedge, but then another sell off. Okay, you've got a lot of red here. a lot of sell-offs, and the rallies are fairly weak. Okay, I'm looking for, if you can see the small black line here, I'm looking for a rally up to that point, I think, which is 11.9 or 11.8, which would give me some indication where we'd at least set up some type of upside structure that we could build on and move north. I think when we do rebound, we are going to push 20K fairly easily, but we've been in this correction mode for a while here, and we trade continuation. Okay, we've been on a downtrend. We assume downtrend until we're proven otherwise. Let me turn this off here. Okay, so we assume downtrend. Okay, we assume continuation until we start to get upside structure and upside targets being hit. We assume we're going to continue down in this wedge. Okay, and that's what I'm planning for. I'm a BTC bull long term. I obviously want this to rebound, but I am not sitting in Bitcoin right now. Okay, I'm sitting in some cash and some other altcoins and waiting to buy back into Bitcoin because I see further downside here. Okay, but remember the 11.8 number. I'm really looking for it to move out of this falling wedge and above 11.8 in order to tell me that we've got some significant upside structure. And we can go down on a 10 or 15 minute scale and look at this, but really that's what I'm looking at right now for upside structure. I think once we do turn the corner, you're going to see the on-balance volume here jump, and these candles are going to be much bigger, much more buying volume is going to come back in here. We've had a number of altcoins that have run during this time. Usually in a Bitcoin bear market, certainly when you have a sudden downturn, alts get murdered and drop quickly, but you do have select alts that run, particularly when Bitcoin is going sideways. Okay, so when Bitcoin's moving sideways, that's a great chance for a lot of the altcoins to move. So if we look at some of the other, this is Bitcoin again, just on a 15-minute time frame, you could see we've got lots of rising wedges with spills. Okay, usually rising wedges tend to spill. Sometimes you'll see Bitcoin blow off out of the top of a rising wedge, but this is a common structure that we see, that you can see rising wedge to spill, rising wedge, spill. This pattern is just continuation, right? And we assume this is going to continue to perform to the downside until shown otherwise. Let's look at, this is Bitcoin Cash, same thing. Bitcoin Cash has really just been mirroring Bitcoin lately. I still have these downside targets for Bitcoin Cash. Also moved out of that back here once this sort of started forming downside structure, okay? So again, you see this continually performing to the downside. That's BCC against Bitcoin. I think here still this is one to watch, okay? Bitcoin Cash against Bitcoin, okay? You have these spikes, these 2 to 3x moves in a day. Then it calms down, you get another 2 to 3x move, comes down. Okay, it's a pump and dump coin, yes, but these pumps do happen. A little false move there, down. It's really leveling off here. Could be preparing for another spike. Shorter time frame. This is Funfair. This is one I own, this gambling security token, online gambling security token. I just hold this one long term. It's been a great coin. This has done 10 to 15x for me so far. But again, you're seeing this funneling behavior again, a period of low volatility. And this is really what you look for in trading patterns. You look for a period of low volatility like this, okay, and a decent setup or upside structure, which we'll get into in future videos. But really this type of, if I can find a good one for you, I'll bring up Ethereum. If you look at Ethereum against the dollar, okay, this is a 4-hourly chart. But really you're looking for this type of triangle, okay? This starting off at high volatility, okay? Big swings and narrowing, okay? A funneling effect where you have a period of low volatility here that will kick into a breakout, okay? I'm a breakout trader. If you've ever heard that, I trade these breakouts. I trade anticipation in a low volatility area, and then I'm trading into an up break like this, okay, which then funnels into another setup and another breakout, okay? You can see this repeated behavior, right? This triangular formation into a funnel breakout, okay? We may see downside now for Ethereum. It's been relatively strong against Bitcoin as well during this time when Bitcoin has been down. Ethereum against Bitcoin has been relatively strong. This is Ethereum against the dollar, which is about $1,000 a coin right now. I don't trade against the dollar. And I'll tell you why. So if our assumption, right, this is our assumption that crypto is taking over, that paper fiat currency is going away, that cryptocurrency is going to be the way going forward, and that as long as that we have this trajectory over time and growth in crypto, enthusiasm in crypto, we've got about less than 1% of the world population involved in cryptocurrency right now. Okay, so as crypto appreciates, when Bitcoin bounces back and all the Bitcoin bears go away, and people start to realize, wow, there's real future here. There's future in the technology, and more, and 2% of the population start to come in, and 3%, and then you have, a good foundation of adopters, and people start rushing into this space. This is only going to grow. Okay, so all of our trading is with that in mind, and that we can be long in a number of these coins, and that the technology grows. They're valuable, especially the coins with use cases that can be used online, for anything from purchasing power to gambling, if you're into that. Um, I mean, there's unlimited uses for coins. So as use cases get stronger and you can use coins for things, or even now, Litecoin just came out with LitePay. It's a Visa card that you can use your Litecoin to purchase at any retail location. That's obviously a game changer. So as this technology grows, we assume that the coins are going to increase in value. That's what they've done so far. So the entire crypto market is on an uptick. So assuming that, okay, and we go back to Ethereum here, I was explaining why I trade against Bitcoin, not against the dollar. Well, Bitcoin goes up. Okay, this is really your standard. This is what you're trading against. Okay, if you're not a great trader, just hold Bitcoin or hold some of these other coins. They go up over time. Okay, if you can capitalize on these great peaks and valleys. Steam is a good example. I've held this for a while, and of course the temptation is when it comes up here and it hits an all-time high, oh, do I sell it or I hold it? This one I'm long on, so I hold it. Okay, so yes, I held it through this, and it's again looks like you're setting up for perhaps further upside. But Steam has got a great use case. That ownership group is great. I believe in it long term, so I hold it long term. But again, this is Steam against Bitcoin. Okay, so when this is growing, you're growing your Bitcoin valuation. Okay, so if you had 10 Bitcoin, okay, and Ethereum moves 10%, you have 10, you have 11 Bitcoin. Okay, so you just gained a Bitcoin if you're trading against Bitcoin. If I'm trading against US dollars, okay, I'll give you a great example. I traded this one against Ethereum. Okay, I tracked this for a while. This was a great move. I got in the 270, 280 range on this trade, and this upside target was to $600. Okay, so I mean, really, even if you're getting in at 300 at the upper end of this, this funneling behavior, that's a 2x trade. Okay, that's great money. Okay, turn 10 grand into 20 grand. Awesome. Okay, but look at the time this takes. Okay, let's just say from beginning of this, this volatile period in July of 2017, all the way till this breakout period here, where you're looking at November. You're holding, even if you're holding from back here, let's say even if you get in late in November, right? You're holding, and by the time you're hitting your 2x, right, you're up here in December, January. So it's 7, 8 weeks, okay? It's taking you to get that. Now some coins move a lot faster, and if you look at this move and you held the whole time, yeah, you're having a 4x or 4 to 5x increase there in a shorter period of time. But you can see against the dollar, that's great. But you have to go back and look at what has Bitcoin done over that time, okay? Now, if Bitcoin's grown significantly, what have you done? If you're not trading against Bitcoin and growing your Bitcoin base, yeah, you grew in US dollars, but if you just held it Bitcoin, you would have grown in US dollars. And you've got to look at what rate is Bitcoin growing at, because you could have just held in Bitcoin and grown and even added more in US dollars than you did by holding Ethereum. So if you can trade against Bitcoin, and all the smaller coins trade against Bitcoin, I think that's some reason for Bitcoin's strength right now as well. Obviously, Bitcoin is the gateway really to crypto, and all these smaller coins trade against Bitcoin. So Funfair, this is another coin that I just mentioned that I hold. Okay, this is trading against Bitcoin. So when this is doing well, it's even better. It's even better when it's doing well against Bitcoin versus doing well against the dollar, okay? Because Bitcoin's already beating the dollar, okay? Crypto is already beating the dollar. So if you can make trades that earn you Bitcoin, now you're gaining on Bitcoin, which is gaining on the dollar, which is really what you want to do. You want to grow your Bitcoin balance from a half a Bitcoin to 1 Bitcoin to 2 Bitcoin to 10 Bitcoin, okay? And as the price of Bitcoin goes up over time, you'll make US dollars, okay, if you make gains on Bitcoin. Doge is another one that I own, which is a little interesting coin. RDD, Red Coin, this is a social media coin. Again, this spiked 20% today. But another decent coin I hold. These are cheaper coins, these are pennies. A penny, 2 pennies. Sia coin, I own that also. Power, this is a cool utility token out of Australia. Litecoin, look at Litecoin right now. What does it look like? So like Bitcoin, right? It's in a falling wedge. Litecoin often mirrors Bitcoin. Okay, you see a spike in Bitcoin, Litecoin will move up. You see a drop in Bitcoin, Litecoin will move with it. Okay, right now this is an incredible bargain for Litecoin at 174. But remember what we talked about Bitcoin. Bitcoin's trending down, right? We could see further downside into the $8,000 range, which I anticipate, unless it pops out of that wedge and shows me some upside. I assume downside continuation. I think Litecoin could perhaps do the same thing. Perhaps you get downside here and you're looking at 110, 120, $130 Litecoin. At that point, I would seriously consider buying Litecoin. I don't have any doubt that Litecoin in 2018 will hit $1,000, and I've seen projections of $5,000 to $10,000 in 2018. It's a great use coin, super fast, great transactional currency. Neo is another one that's setting up here. Okay, this is Neo on the 4 hourly. So big pattern here. You see increased. You see a lot of volatility. Okay, it's starting to funnel, get closer. So I had another one here that we could look at. Let's see. I put a Bollinger Band on this. So Bollinger Bands are just. It's really essentially a standard deviation of the price action. Okay, so when these two bands, this upper Bollinger line here and the lower Bollinger Band here, are really wide, you have a lot of volatility in the trading. And when they narrow and get really close, there's low volatility, and low volatility begets high volatility. Okay, so something is going to happen. When this gets really flat like this and these Bollinger Bands get really tight, you don't even need the bands. You can tell, right? You're not getting big swings here. It's flattening out. Something is going to happen. It's going to break down or it's going to break up. Okay, the general overall structure tells you whether it's going up or whether it's going down. Also, assuming continuation is a good thing. If you're already heading down, you assume continuation and assume that you're continuing to head down. But there are certain key indicators that we'll talk about to give you an idea of whether you could be heading for upside structure, downside structure. But generally, you're looking for these periods of volatility that funnel into low volatility areas, and then you're watching for a breakout. Now, what does a breakout look like relative to, well, when we're talking about Bollinger Bands, if you zoom in on some of this, which I can do here, really these aren't really tight bands. But let's say you were looking at this. You can see a breakout when you get a candle move outside the upper Bollinger Band. Okay, that's a good indication that you have volatility that's indicating that you have a breakout in the upward trend if it moves outside of the upper Bollinger Band. Okay, and in TradingView, you can add these just by right-clicking on the graph. Okay, insert indicator. Just type in the search window BOLL or Bollinger and just click Bollinger Bands and it'll add it. Okay, there are a number of different indicators you can mess with in here. But really the main indicators I pay attention to are on balance volume here, okay, and then just your running candle volume. Okay, this tells you get a whole bunch of people buying right there. Those are good signs. And then conversely here, a whole bunch of people selling, red candle. Okay, but generally you see what I'm saying. You get a breakout of the upper Bollinger Band here. It tells you some price actions moving north. You get further breakout here. Okay, it also can happen for the downside, but really you're looking for areas where you get decreased volatility and then breakout from that. Okay, so not a lot of great. You can see once it gets real volatile, these bands get really far away from each other. Okay, ADA Cardano I've held for a while. Here you're seeing I bought down in here. I've just held this long and have not traded it because it was super cheap when I bought it. But here you had spike at an all-time high. Now, again, you're getting this funneling behavior. It's kicking around here in a narrow window. We're likely going to break up out of this. Okay, this is not any recommendation or investment advice. These are just coins that I own and track. Okay, so BTC, look for a move above 11.8. I think we need to set up some at least some macro upside structure to invalidate some of these downside targets. But for now, we're going to assume downside continuation. And that's it for today. I will get into another trading basics video next time, which will cover key levels of significance and some indicators as well. I've got to get to that and put that out there for trading basics. If you have any questions, post them here in the YouTube link. Please subscribe and pass the info on. I'll aim for this to be a strong trading basics channel, and then we'll get into some advanced techniques as I create more videos. Thanks everyone for watching.